Hi everyone, Ian here. Good morning. It's September. So I'm actually back here at Clear Lake. I'm gonna fish once again with Captain Steve, which, by the way, if you did not know, he has a website now. So if you want to go fish for him for awesome channel Catfish or other stuff, just check out the website. The link will be in the video description as well as right up here in case you just want to see it in front of you. However, this is going to be a little bit different. So recently, Captain Steve has found himself a new spot, which has produced a good amount of catfish. In fact, the other day, him and another client were able to bring in a 30-pound channel catfish. Now, I want to honor, Steve's request about keeping things very on the down low where the spot is. However, so there's no GoPro. I don't have my traditional camera gear with me. So the only way I'm going to really document this trip is through here, as well as through this. So for people who might have seen this, this is kind of the CanFish cameras. And basically you can record stuff underwater, especially if you get a fish on the line. Now I've had, mixed result with these things. And, I think it's just because of my user error about when's a good time to deploy it, whatnot. However, I feel confident that this will be more productive. But to increase my chances, I not only have just one, I actually have two. This one's a green one. So hopefully we will get some awesome footage. And otherwise, tune in and fingers crossed that things will go well.
For those who are not familiar, the CanFish Camera X is a cool little action camera that's supposed to help fishermen capture the action underwater, and that's easily able to be connected to your phone through the associated app. And I've used this a few times, especially with crabbing and recently with my rockfish trip. So as soon as we pulled up to Steve's spot, there was loads of targets on the fish finder, including catfish, baitfish. However, before we set the camera loose, we wanted to catch a few catfish first. First fish of the day, nice 12-pound female. Let her go. Second fish.
She's about 13.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
With 5 catfish already in the boat, we decided it was time to deploy the new camera to see if we can get any of the action underwater. I got my camera on and connected my phone. I cast it out. And you might be wondering, what the heck? Where's the lights? And here's the weird thing. The light, for whatever reason, just did not turn on, even though it's supposed to. Now, I'm not sure why exactly it did this, but luckily the camera was still running. So even though the light wasn't exactly on, we did get a bit of that action, or at least the sound of it. Now, there was still a lot of targets being shown on the fish finder, and even though the light wasn't on, we still got a bit of that action. So during this little sequence, there was something that was a little bit interesting. So I actually slowed down the footage a little bit, and it looks like the catfish was actually swimming towards the camera. You can see the lure right there, followed by the catfish's gills right there. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So this is fish number 17. Got a little bonk on his head. Yeah.
It was at this point that the light on the CanFish camera finally decided to turn on. And what you're seeing in front of you is actually, well, Clear Lake. And this is only about 30 feet deep, and yet it looks like another world. And of course, in true typical fashion, the bite slowed down a little bit. It kind of stopped. And of course, even though I deployed the second camera, we really didn't get that much action on the cameras for the rest of the day. In fact, at the very end of this whole fishing trip, we were able to capture at least 20 nice channel catfish, which is a definite win in my book.
Only at Captain Steve's Adventures will you get great catfish like this one. We're gonna let him go though. 16-pounder. Goodbye.
Ooh.
3 weeks later.
Hi everyone. So it's been about 3 weeks since I fished with Captain Steve on that last trip to Clear Lake. Otherwise, but I want to take this moment to talk about a weird thing that kind of happened at Clear Lake since, I was there. So after I left a few days, really unfortunate things started happening at that little specific area of Clear Lake where there was a mass dying of fish. Captain Steve actually sent me footage to show off to you guys, so here it is.
Kind of sad to see. About a 4-pounder right there. Big old, probably set 16, 17-inch crappie. It's about a 25-pound carp, a 15-pound cat, and there's at least a 20-pound cat down there.
Now, all of this footage was taken by Steve pretty much like a few days after I fished with him, and pretty much the spots where we saw all these bait fish, catfish, there's a massive die-off. And in fact, there was crappie, bass, catfish, but remarkably, the more interesting find of this whole thing was the fact that the sturgeon washed up on shore. Now, this has caused all sorts of conspiracy amongst the fishermen about whether there's a population of sturgeon in this lake, someone dumped this sturgeon in this lake, and to be honest, like there is footage of this sturgeon. It was found at Clear Lake. That much is proven. But of course, the big question is, are there more of them?
So ultimately, hopefully the fish there, even though it's a tremendous loss for all those fish, and even the idea that a sturgeon washed up on shore is a crazy thing. However, that's just how it is. Sometimes you might have a great spot 1 second and all of a sudden that spot doesn't really exist anymore. So we'll kind of see how things turn out. But of course, as always, Captain Steve, he has multiple spots around Clear Lake, and he's going to keep bringing those monsters in. So if you really want to fish with them, here's his website, here's his link. Ultimately for me, October, there's gonna be a lot more opportunities for fishing. September was a really bit of a slow month. In fact, Clear Lake was probably the only thing I really did this month, which is why I like, me posting a video last Wednesday of every month. This one was a bit of a struggle. So I know this wasn't the most, entertaining video, but I do appreciate people sitting around watching me navigate through this whole hobby. And the only thing I'll say though is I hope you're excited. We're gonna try to do shark fishing. We're gonna try to do some more crabbing and other stuff, hopefully in the next few months. But otherwise, just wanna say thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon.